Alright guys, welcome back. We'll be going straight into some basic networking protocols. Okay, so the first one I would like to talk about is IP config. Now, what this does for us, um, sorry about that. What this does for us is basically that it loads up everything concerning our network connection and stuff like that. So I have this Ethernet adapter, which is that router port that's by side. You'll notice that you have your HDMI port and then that you have your um, USB ports and all those. Then there's one that seems particularly wide and jagged on the inside. That's your Ethernet adapter. And then you have your wireless LAN. Then you have that also, and then you have your Wi-Fi. Now, I'm currently connected to my Wi-Fi, as you can see over here. The connection specific, the link. So basically gives us all the details concerning those particular things that we are using at those particular times. So this is my default gateway. Let me see. Okay, so this is my IPv4 IPv4 v4 address. Sorry about that. 192.168.43.26. My default gateway is this, and then we know that the address local host is usually 127.0.0.1. So that's basically that. That just gives us some information. Then the next one I'd like to talk about is actually get MAC. Get MAC helps us to get the MAC address, which is the physical address of a particular device. So media device is connected. For this media device that is connected, so this is basically the MAC address for this system. That's the MAC address for this system. It's used in some networking protocols. We have stuff like ARP, which is address resolution protocol, which basically assigns a MAC address to certain things, and then the DHCP, which is the dynamic host configuration protocol. It's basically it needs that MAC address so that it can have um, devices that are on the same local network communicate with one another. So the next that I would like to um, tell you is this ping. So ping is just basically a way of just checking your connection, how strong it is, if you are actually connected to the net. So let's just say ping google.com and then let's see what it runs. So basically it's receiving a reply. It's receiving replies basically. Alright, so you got 4 replies in 47 milliseconds, 56 milliseconds, blah blah blah. So transfer um layer security blah blah blah. So we sent 4 packets and received 4 packets. There was 0 loss, so you can tell that the network is basically good. So you can see it's just basically for checking such stuff. Alright, okay, so then I'd also like to show you this traceat. So basically you can trace an IP address with this. I don't fully know the power of this, but I believe that okay, force using IP46 before okay, trace round trip, source address to use, wait timeout, lose source, maximum number of ops. So basically it's like a triangulation program. It basically traces a particular IP address. So let's see. Let's try to trace this IP address. I think that's Google's IP address. Let's try to trace that. Let's see. Unable to resolve. Okay. I don't have a particular IP address that I can ping, particularly because I'm the only one on my local network now. I don't have another device on my local network. So okay, okay, okay. Let's use that Google one again. I actually saw. Okay, you might be able to get it now. You will notice that there was a colon on the back of it. So now it's just tracing the route over a maximum of 30 ops. So the default number of ops that it jumps from one server to another one. So you can see that this is my default gateway. This is just basically my default IP address. So it's using that to that's the start point. Kind of jumps to some other places. So let's see what it can do. See, basically it jumped to this IP address 170. So now it will jump to another IP address to trace it. So you're just finding the nearest or maybe the best efficient IP address to jump to, and then basically be able to do it. So hacking is not as easy as those guys on TV make it look like. It's not as easy as that. There's usually a lot of planning and stuff that goes into it. So basically, it's jumping from stuff to stuff, and sometimes they're true on the theory, but the way they actually show it is very much a lie, because you see a guy hooked up to a system, and then before you know it, tells you that he has opened up a back door. Back doors are not that easy to make. They take time to. So the trace is complete. So basically, he was able to trace back to this IP address and finally get Google's IP address. So he was able to trace it um, and find that it actually exists. So he knows that this IP address exists. So imagine if on a place where an IP address does not exist, it will not be able to get a value. So the trace will not be complete. So it just took 10 ops. There are some situations where it takes just a few ops. I'm thinking of actually running my local IP address on this and seeing what it would bring. Let's see. I don't know if there's a particular clause that helps them to know that it's the same IP address, because it's going to jump from. Alright, so the trace is complete. It didn't take one by one because that's exact is essentially the place that it's jumping from. Alright, so I believe that the last one I would like to talk about is, I'm just going to check this one, but I don't know. I don't think I'm going to talk about this one actually. So okay, let's look up. I'm going to try something real quick. Um, I'm going to try something real quick. All right, so um, non-authoritative answer. So basically, this NS lookup is like a watered down version of the whois command. Now, whois is basically a footprinting device by which you can get a lot of information about websites and particular companies. So maybe you can do some phishing or some spear phishing, which is just basically a way of getting sensitive information and using it for further attacks on a particular system, on a particular company, on a particular person, stuff like that. So that's basically what this NS lookup is about. So if I wanted, the last one I actually wanted to talk about was FTP. So what does FTP do essentially? FTP is just a system by which you can transfer files. So this is FTP means file transfer protocol. So it's a system by which you can transfer files, you can transfer media files and the likes. Really any files, you can transfer them over the net and then they just bounce off and stuff like that. So basically, how do we use FTP? So you type in FTP and you press enter, and then unlike something like this part, it opens FTP over here. So let's just exit from there. Sorry, you have to put in quit to be able to leave there. So now let's see the options that we have available to ourselves. So we have control C to abort all commands, mget and mput. So basically what happens is that we have the FTP on our system here. So basically what you would do is navigate to where the file is stored or put in the full path, and then it takes that file, sends it to a particular server, which would actually maybe require you a username and a password. You put that in, you send the file to the server, it's stored on the server, then another person can use the mget command and get the file, and or you can use the input to put the file on server. I don't have access to specific FTP servers right now, so I won't be able to do it completely. But it's a very easy thing. As I said, just go into the directory where the file is, put in your username and password, and if it does not require any of those, then no problem. Simply put the file in that directory. If you want to get any files from there, maybe particularly files have been put there, you use an f mget and basically stuff like that. So it's not too hard, it's basic stuff, and it really is just some easy squeezy stuff, really nice and stuff like that. Alright, I actually wanted to talk about some little things quickly. I wanted to talk about installing and uninstalling programs on the command line. basically to install program, you should remember that in one of our videos, I think maybe the fifth or the sixth video, or is it the fourth? I can't really remember, but basically I want to teach you how to install. So basically what you would actually do is that most installation programs comes as .exe, that's an executable file, or .msi. Now what's the difference between exe and msi? Basically the difference between the two is that um, MSIs actually have a, what do we call it now? They have they always must have an interface. I think it represents Microsoft installer. Exe is basically an executable file. It might not have an installer. It might not have an interface. It might not have any interface at all. So that's just the difference between them. So basically this works for exe and msi files. So basically you just pick the name and then you put it here, because basically it's just like you are running a file. So Windows takes over from there and then runs it through its default programs, the programs that have been set to run msi files or .exe files. So once you put in the name, I don't have particular ones here, that's the problem right now. These exe files are executable files for opening particular programs, not for installing them. All right, so basically that's all about that. Let me check inside here if I do have one. Okay, yes, I do have one over here. So let's change the directory to desktop. I'll cancel it immediately actually, but it's an MSI, so you see that it must have a, so it definitely will have a GUI, that is the user interface, the graphical user interface. So change it to desktop and collect. Alright, so I have this here. So if I just pick this, so see that it's actually loading up now. So basically by the time it's able to call the program completely, now it has called the program, and you can see. So that's basically it. So for stuff that are GUI, you bring up the GUI. So it's just basically like running files. But then uninstalling is quite different from this. What you have to do when you're uninstalling particular files is you have to write WMIC. WMIC brings up a particular, it should bring up something there, sorry. Alright, so it brings this up. Why is that up? Let's clear the screen. Uh, yes, I want to quit it. I already have Blender installed. Okay, so let's clear the screen. Oh, sorry about that. We're in WMIC, we can't actually clear it. Alright, so what you then do next is get product get name. So once you run this, it's just a matter of waiting on it to run, and then it will give you a list of names. Now, as opposed to the installing, this works only with .msi file. So if it's not a .msi file, it will not uninstall it. So let's see if we can wait for this, if it brings it up. If it won't do it fast, we'll just move on to what we have next. um, okay, let's just wait for it. It seems to be just trying to find all those files. It's taking a bit of our time. You can see this seems to be wasting our time, so it's not actually allowing us to cancel it. So I actually wanted to show something lastly. This is a bit more involving. um Basically it's how to unzip through the command line. um how to unzip through the command line. So basically what happens is that we have particular programs. You could have some of them installed. I think one of them is 7Z. We also have tar and like. So once these programs are installed and they are accessible from the command line, what we can then do is that we can just put them in front of a particular file and navigate to the where the file is, put them in front of a particular file, and then just use them to open a particular file. Let's see, I think I have one of such in my downloads. Didn't even display the names. Okay, that probably means I don't have any .msi files, but I believe I do. But I think there's an option of maybe they you see because at least this blender, but the problem might be that upon installation they're no longer .msi files. That might be the problem. But basically it works with it. I've not seen the method that works with all files. So downloads, let's check if I have such a file inside there. Okay, I think I have a zip file there. So let's try the tar. I believe that the tar should work without any stress. Tar xf. Let's just pick the name. Okay, okay. So it ran. So now let's check. We'll see that it has now opened it up. Over here we had 4 files. Over here we have 9 files. It has basically opened it up and basically. So basically we just add that program. Let's see if WinRAR okay, WinRAR is not in there, but basically tar can help us to unzip files. So basically that's about it for this guys. So we've learned about networking commands and uninstalling, installing, unzipping. Thank you very much guys. See you later.